The goal is to get to know, because I don't want them to be scared to know.
Right.
And then the next day you're going to call me and I'm going to be like, I asked a woman out for coffee and she made excuses. I'm like, that's a no. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah. Is she okay? Yeah. That means you do it again. Because the only thing great yeses have, like, I can't imagine how many no's you've had along the way, right? I mean, if you see anybody who is scored above their weight class economically or romantically, this has been the key, no. And that is their willingness to endure no to get to a great yes. And our young men aren't getting there. They're not taking those risks because of the seduction of a frictionless relationship online. And also sometimes a no can be dangerous, right? 1 out of 3 relationships used to begin at work. You think a young guy feels confident like ever asking a girl out at work? It's like, oh no, that could be a career-ending injury.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so where do people meet now? They're not going into work. They're not going to school. There's remote. There's Zoom. They're not going to church. Church attendance is at an all-time low. So where do people meet? And this is especially damaging for young men because young men need to demonstrate excellence.
So if a young person comes to you and let's say they've done some of this right? So they're not fully addicted to this stuff. They're willing to put themselves out there. They want to work. They've got a little bit of an education. They've got some mojo. They've really, but they're somewhere in that college age thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then they come to you and they say, man, Scott, I hear all the stuff that you're telling me about economics and what my prospects are and everything else. And I'm really depressed about that. What do you think the solutions are for that stuff? For the kid that you don't have to fix all the other problems first. They've come through and they're okay. But now they're looking at the future and going, man, it doesn't look as good as it was for my dad, 20 years ago.
Well, okay, so you just have to operate in the world that you live in, right? So it sucks to be a grown-up. You're going to be paralyzed and just bitch and complain. Young people in the United States still have more agency, I think, than almost anywhere in the world. And I think a lot of the issues they're triggered by, whether it's discrimination or lack of equity, what I find frustrating about young people is, yeah, we still have work to do, but it's a lot better than it used to be. And it's better here than almost anywhere in the world. You have agency, full stop. And one of the things that universities have done a terrible job at is creating this oppressor-oppressed zeitgeist that makes some people feel guilty and other people like they're less likely to be successful because of their identity. And that's just not. 55% of Harvard's freshman class is non-white. I mean, Tyler Perry and Trevor Noah's kids don't need a leg up. There is unfortunately the strongest indicator of your success now, in a good way. It's not identity. That's a wonderful thing. The bad news is the strongest indicator of your success is how wealthy your parents are. That's a bad thing. Anyway, what I would say to a young person is, okay, this is the world you operate in. So you need to do your best and recognize the world you operate in may not be as good as it was for guys like me 40 years ago, but it's still pretty damn good. Now let's just talk about how you punch above your weight class, a series of behaviors, activities, attitudes that will get you kind of as far as get you forward. We still, 11% of people in the lowest quintile end up in the top quintile. It hasn't gone up or down. Unfortunately, I think what hurts a lot of young people from an anxiety level is that 210 times a day, someone is vomiting on their phone their faux wealth. So the way the human brain works, a lot of people say, well, actually, Warren Buffett says, a middle-class person lives a better life than the richest man on earth 100 years ago. That's true. They didn't have Netflix or Novocaine, which are both awesome, right? But the problem is that's not the way the human brain works. The human brain goes, if where I'm spending my time is telling me that because my boyfriend doesn't have ripped abs and I'm not in Saint-Tropez or on a Gulfstream, I have screwed up and I should feel bad about myself, then that's why these kids don't feel good. And again, detaching them from their relationships.
Do doctors have Black Friday sales? Well, at Brickhouse Nutrition, they do. They've just launched their biggest event of the year, a Black Friday sale with 30% off everything. That means that the industry's most impressive health and nutrition products are now 30% off, including Lean, a doctor-formulated weight loss supplement for people who want to lose meaningful weight without injections. It also includes creatine designed specifically for women to help you look leaner, more toned, and and in shape without extra dieting or exercise. And there's even 30% off Field of Greens, the only fruit and vegetable formula shown in a university study to actually slow aging. Every Brickhouse product, from better sleep to superior collagen, is 30% off. Hurry, these Black Friday deals go fast. Visit BrickHouseSale.com to save 30% off. That's BrickHouseSale.com.
Look, when I coach a young man, this is what I do. I say, give me your phone, unlock it. Everyone has an advantage. The advantage of young people is they've got more time than money. They have capital, it's just human capital. So we're going to find 8 to 12 hours of that precious capital in your phone. It's so easy. And I try to put them at ease by saying, I gamble, I buy options, I have consumed porn such that they don't feel judged. I'm not going to judge you. They unlock their phone, and in about 7 minutes, we can find 8 hours. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Coinbase, Robinhood. All right, I see your screen time. I need it to be an hour less a day. We're going to get 7 or 8 hours a week, and we're going to reallocate it into 1 or 3 areas. First is we're going to get fit. I think that young men, and fitness is wonderful for everybody, but especially for a young man who's used to historically being outside, sweating, hunting, being in the agency of others. I need you to get strong. You're going to look back on your denser bone structure, your double twitch muscle, and your testosterone. You're going to think, why wasn't I a monster when I was 25? I joke that any man under the age of 30 should be able to walk in any room and know if shit got real, they could kill and eat everybody or outrun them. I just think you're going to be happy. Who breaks up fights at bars? Big, strong guys. Who starts fights? Guys who don't feel good about themselves. You have a broader selection set of mates, less likely to be depressed. We're going to get really fit and strong too. Need to make some money. If you have a smartphone, you can make money. I don't care if it's being a Lyft driver, TaskRabbiter. Panera is desperate for people, and they start them at $18 an hour. Just show up on time, and you immediately separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. Got to make some money. Got to get a taste for the flesh. We live in a capitalist society. Money is how the world goes around. You need to be economically viable. And then the third thing is we're going to put ourselves in the company of strangers, church group, riding class, nonprofit, whatever it is, sports league. You have to be in the company of strangers at least twice a week. And then kind of the next follow-up is we're going to do the approach. We're going to express platonic interest. Hey, do you want to grab a beer? Romantic interest at some point. Hey, do you want to grab a coffee? And this is the goal. The goal is to get to know, because I don't want them to be scared to know.
Right.
And then the next day you're going to call me and I'm going to be like, I asked a woman out for coffee and she made excuses. I'm like, that's a no. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah. Is she okay? Yeah. That means you do it again, because the only thing great yeses have, like, I can't imagine how many no's you've had along the way, right? I mean, if you see anybody who is scored above their weight class economically or romantically, this has been the key, no. And that is their willingness to endure no to get to a great yes. And our young men aren't getting there. They're not taking those risks because of the seduction of a frictionless relationship online. And also sometimes a no can be dangerous, right? 1 out of 3 relationships used to begin at work. You think a young guy feels confident like ever asking a girl out at work? It's like, oh no, that could be a career-ending injury.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so where do people meet now? They're not going into work. They're not going to school. There's remote. There's Zoom. They're not going to church. Church attendance is at an all-time low. So where do people meet? And this is especially damaging for young men, because young men need to demonstrate excellence. If you talk to people who've been married longer than 30 years, 80% of them say that one was more interested in the other in the beginning. It was almost always the man. We're just much less choosy than women, right? Our job is to spread our seed to the 4 corners of the earth. Women's job is to put up a finer screen and pick the smartest, strongest, fastest seed. But typically what happens is the guy gets to demonstrate excellence. I liked how he treated his parents at church. He was so good at work. I hung out with him and his friends, and he was a great dancer. I liked the way he smelled. Women fall in love, so to speak. Where does a young man demonstrate excellence right now? What venue does he have? So I think that I tell young people, punch above your weight class, every day put together a list, be fit, start making some money, put yourself in the company of strangers, and recognize that as bad as things are, and as much as the world and Greta Thunberg and all these people want to tell you that the world sucks, we're running at about 99% of the best day on earth ever. So, buck up, do your best to win at this game. Regardless of what you think of the inequity of the game, do your best to win at it.
If you're looking to listen to more brainy and brutally honest conversations about academia, check out our academia playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a wide variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist, all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and tap that notification bell.